This is a flat Earth map. North Pole's in the center. Antarctica goes all the way around the outside edge. And all these world organizations use the flat Earth map, but they leave off Antarctica. I don't think they want you to know.
No.
No. I don't think they want you to know. So look. There's that. There's a map. And then on the back, at the bottom, you can look up all the stuff I have on the banners from that website that's on the bottom there. Are you a Bible believer by any chance?
All day long.
All day long?
Yes, ma'am.
You go to this website, you get all the Bible verses that relate to that.
Okay.
But yeah, we shouldn't be seeing Chicago across 60 miles. It should be hidden under 2,400 feet of curvature. There's a curvature formula, because if it goes out, it goes down at some point if it's a ball. So we can say, well, no, we're not finding that curvature anywhere. So this is what we're saying.
Okay.
And the line of reflection, you know, you always get a line when you have a sunset.
Where's that thing?
That's a flat surface. Oh, see, this is water.
Where's the
This?
card that you find it in the Bible verses?
Oh, right here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the 4 minutes.
Yep. Earth is flat.
The Earth is flat?
Absolutely. No, it is all the time. Not kidding. I can tell you about it right here. Come on, it's neat. Yeah, it's neat.
Hey, now listen.
North Pole's in the center. Antarctica goes all the way around the outside edge. And all these world organizations use a flat Earth map, but they leave off Antarctica. I don't think they want you to know it goes around the outside edge. They want you to believe it's a little thing at the bottom. See? But this guy, my level's back here. Captain Cook sailed 60,000 miles around Antarctica. It took him 3 years in his little boat, right, years ago. And that coincides with having a 24,901 equator. It really fits the whole model. So this is what we're saying. If there's a ball, there's a curvature formula for if it goes out, it's got to drop. So spherical geometry says this is our formula. 8 inches times a mile squared. So at 60 miles, this should drop 2,400, and it's not. It's there. We can see it. It's not going over a curve. Same thing with the ships. You have to study perspective, though. It teaches you how your eyes work at a distance. So if you see a ship go over the curve, you get a high-powered zoom camera, and you can bring it right back into focus. It didn't go over a curve. It's right there. It's just in the vanishing line. Vanishing point is 4 things, like 1, 2, top and bottom. And the vanishing line is just the top and the bottom. So there's a lot to this. And you can see everything on our banners here if you look this up right there. And you get a map to boot. You want to take that? Here's a couple of things in here you can think about. There's 10 points on this little brochure. You'll like that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you think, girls?
Come on, let's take a look.
Come on, give me a question I can't answer. Tell me, come on.
It's round.
Did you find a case?
No.
But they were already in space, though.
No, you know why? Here, look. Space is fake. It's fake. They're making it up. You know why? Because if they can fool us, they can rule us. They can tell us, there's weapons of mass destruction over there in the Middle East. We got to go over there and kill them. Really? Why is that? It just kills us. And that's their way of population control. They get us rah, 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 and then we go out and do stupid things. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe it. NASA, look what they put on the website. This is the United States, there's the United States. In 1 year it changed, really? What's that about? Here, when you see them doing a spacewalk, we have videos with bubbles in space. Bubbles going up the helmet. That's because they're in a pool. They're fooling us. Why are they doing this? It's crazy. The government's lying, and you need to research it. And this is how you do that. You start here with the 200 proofs. This is all my banner stuff. There's 200 proofs, and there's 2 other videos on there. One is about the time lapse of the sun. When it goes away, it gets smaller. Unless there's a lot of moisture in the air, then it looks like it goes down. This is true. This is real. You got to study it, research it. But if you want to get a real high-paying job and be like NASA or something, don't tell them you know this. Just be smart for yourself. I'm not kidding. If you have a question, you come and ask me. I'll help you out with it. Some enchanted evening, you will meet a stranger. You will meet a stranger across a crowded room. And then you'll find da 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 da. Hey there.
I just went on break.
Okay, cool, very cool. Well, why don't you bring it here so you can see what I'm talking about? Bring your chair up. You can bring it up. Who cares? It's not like the mall's crowded or anything. So what do you know about this? Anything?
So I've read a bunch about flat Earth, but I just want to talk to you personally. So
Oh,
yeah,
so you
I
don't
want to
need...
know about flat Earth.
Okay, do you
but,
have any questions then?
Yeah.
Okay.
What made you want to find flat Earth? Like, when did you first
Okay,
hear
I had
about it and go like, yeah, I should look into this?
I had a conspiracy group meeting at my house every Friday night for like 3 years.
Okay.
And one of the guys, and they were like educated people, one of the guys says to me, hey, they say we never landed on the moon. I said, what? You're crazy. Of course we landed on the moon. I remember seeing it on the TV. So, no, okay, so I looked into that. And I found out we didn't land on the moon. So when you're sitting there, watching these moon landing videos, up pop other ones, and this one said flat Earth. First time I heard it, I said, nah, I'm not going there. Crazy. Second time I said, oh, those poor delusional Christians. I thought it was just a religious thing. But I'm a Christian. Third time I said, okay, if there's something to this, there's a working model. So I went looking for the working model. And I had already seen the movie called The Principle. It was a geocentric model.
Okay.
So I knew there was a model that worked geocentrically. So all that needed to do then was that instead of the geo ball, it was a flat plane. So then there's a lot of other things to look at, because this flat Earth is the center and it's stationary. Everything else is around that. But you have to bring everything in close, because we don't have a 93 million mile away sun and all of that. And I've done curvature tests on my own. I've gone to Wildwood, filmed Atlantic City.
Yeah.
My friend has a P1000 Nikon, and we did all that stuff. So I know there's no curvature. And then for the past 6 months, I've been doing I'd made a sundial. I've been doing that, and I'm not sure what I'm learning from that, but at least I know.
Yeah. I want to collect as much data as possible.
Yeah, you collect data, and then you talk to people like in Australia, and you find out what they've got, and then you compare stuff, and you say, oh, well, that's interesting. So I know this, the pendulum, that was interesting. Down in the, I took my daughter on a field trip down there when she was at the charter school, and the pendulum they had in the stairwell, you know, it wasn't moving. I'm there. Well, wait a minute. How come that's not moving? Mm-hmm. And yeah, you have to manually move them.
Okay.
The pendulums, or otherwise they just go dead straight.
Yeah.
Well, how come that is? If it's a curve, if it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, then that should have some movement to it, even if you're not touching it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I understand plumb bobs. You know, they are for finding the point. So that nothing made sense until you realize that it is a stationary flat plane, and then everything makes sense.
Gotcha. What were like some of the like other questions that it answered? Just so I have never really talked to somebody that has asked whatever question in an attempt to figure it out. So like, yeah. What?
Okay.
Like, so like I'll put it this way, the things that I've like either heard or seen are essentially you know, all right, so flat, gravity is explained by something being pushed up, not, you know, the force.
Oh no, that's
pulling
the Flat Earth Society.
Okay.
That is a government controlled PSYOP. It's a controlled opposition.
Okay.
They know if they can control the opposition, then they'll be able to control the narrative of what we're hearing, and then they'll make it sound crazy and funny, and then, you know, people will get turned away and not look further.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on. We're finding out there's a lot of people, I thought were like friends and flat earth friends, that they're really just actors.
Gotcha.
Even like within our community. So
yeah.
Like just recently, like within the past 2 weeks, I've had to just unfriend 2 people that I thought were, and they're not. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. The government lies about everything, everything. But this opened the door to, for me, understanding why things never changed in politics. Mm-hmm. I was heavily like campaigner, rah-rah, worked the polls, did all of that, and I'm there. Yeah, we can do this, you know. No. I found out that they run both parties, mm-hmm. and they just put that duality out there to keep you guessing one or the other, and that's why they have the black and white checkered floors. Mm-hmm. This is connected with the Freemasons and all that. Yeah. So these secret societies, oh man, it's just such a rabbit hole when you look into this.
Have you gotten, you're talking about Freemasons, you know, the white and black checkers. So have you learned or kind of gleaned any of the information that they like try to keep secret and that is like depicted in those?
Well, they're like, keeping the shape of the earth secret.
I'll put it this way. Why are there white and black checkers? Why would it be
a duality? It's the duality.
Exactly.
They put stuff out there and they put out both sides, mm-hmm. and they say, this is the problem. Mm-hmm. And they put out both sides. Definitely. So they're controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
Okay. Government, they control the mind, mental, mm-hmm. you know, so.
So I'm with you there. So it's, yeah, the two-party system, it's an illusion of choice.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 2, they can make it 3.
Sure.
You know, they could make it 20.
Green, libertarian, all that.
All the stuff.
Sure.
So part of those, the different secret societies, the knowledge and the stuff that gets passed on through those things, there are ways to explain like what's at the deepest core of the universe. So what the universe is. So there's a quote. It's omni e duo e unum e nil. 2 and 1, 1 and nothing. Or
okay.
All in 2s, 2 and 1, 1 and nothing.
Right.
All right. So the universe is one thing.
Okay.
All right. So, but that one thing is nothing. So there's nothing before the universe, except for what you would call the universe before its physical existence.
Okay.
All right, so now look at everything in nature. Everything in nature splits to two. So you have male, female, this, that, light, dark.
Okay.
All right, so what essentially happens, that zero, that is nothing, before any physical manifestation of the universe, it becomes one. So it becomes everything that ever will be that, in physical existence. That one splits into two. So that's where you get male and female, light and darkness, everything expressed in twos.
Okay.
All right, so those twos, there's a reason that the universe splits in this way. So it splits in this way. I'll try and kind of summarize some stuff. So imagine that you are a part of everything that there is, but you have no self-reference. The way to self-reference is to become a self. So like if everything creates and then splits in two, that split continues to go. So like, I don't know if you ever like study any like different types of mysticism, look into tarot cards, like, and numerology at all. So like the numbers, as they divide, they become the building blocks of the universe, and that becomes
There's something
the map.
to numbers, I think.
So,
like the Fibonacci sequence and...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to numbers. I've always been interested in numbers. I don't really know.
so 0 becomes 1, becomes all of existence. Existence splits into 2. All right, that 2 becomes 4. So how that 2 becomes 4. So say man and woman. That man and woman becomes man, woman, son, daughter. So those 4 connect to the 4 elements. So air, earth, fire, water. So those, the 2 becomes 4 through the reuniting of the 2 and the splitting again.
Okay, so
that's how you get to that point. If you look in tarot cards, they have, the 4 like elements in them, but in the 4 elements, they also have what you could call, like in normal trading cards, king, queen, jack, and ace. Or they have, the face cards. Those things are representative of that element inside of the other elements. So how you get from 4 to 5 is what they call spirit. So spirit is what keeps them apart but links them together. All right, so essentially at this point, you have the foundation for the physical universe. So like things continue to expand from that point, but that's a lot of the secret societies that I'm not saying don't exercise control, because they 100% do in different ways, but the knowledge that they try to protect is basically...
that they aren't in control.
Well, there's no control. So you're in control. You are God. You are the universe. You are limitless energy, complete potential and power. You are everything expressing itself as an individual. So that by you expressing yourself as an individual, you can better know what you are and see what, this is. So there's no separation here. The separation is just us viewing it. So, I think I'm a person, you think you're a person, so does everybody else, based on the fact that, to see everything, we create like a little version of ourselves. But this is the reason that we do these things, is because the experience you get whenever you realize that the separation is a lie, that like everything really is connected, everything is perfect. The only reason we were seeing it differently is because we were seeing it as something that's separate. But you would never know how incredible it all really is unless you got to know what it was like to feel separate. You know, imagine that.
I think we're actually taught to be separate by the lies.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because I think when we're born, we don't have a lot of the I was looking at that girl. We don't have a lot of the prejudices and the fear.
Exactly.
When we're little, we don't have those, and we can see spirit when we're children, and then we're taught to ignore those parts of us.
Yeah.
And then when we get older, then we kind of start to see them again because of our experiences through life that had to be that. That's what I'm thinking for myself.
Think of this, like if you were a 3-year-old and, you know, you were telling your parents about seeing a pink elephant, they would tell you there's no such thing as a pink elephant. But what if you really did see a pink elephant somewhere? And then, like, through being told to disregard these signals?
Sure,
so
you're getting trained. How you doing?
Exactly.
Did you ever hear this before?
No, actually, I was at work and someone was telling me about this.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just go through it quick. Okay, so the Earth really is a flat plane. It's not a spinning ball like they're telling us. So we're supposed to deny our senses and believe that it's really a spinning ball, but it's not. So here they have the flat Earth map, and all these world organizations use the flat Earth map, but they leave off Antarctica, which goes around the outside edge. North Pole in the center, and Antarctica goes around the outside. You can have this because there's a map there, and there's more information on the back. But what we're looking for with this is this should have a curvature to it, and there should be a formula that matches that curvature. So the formula is this. 8 inches times a mile squared. But we're seeing Chicago across 60 miles of Lake Michigan. So where's the curvature? There's no curvature. And we've done many experiments with this. The flat Earth community is all over it like flies on rice, or white on rice. That's it. So
Yeah, it's flies on shit.
yeah, whatever. I don't want to say that. So here we go. If there's a reflection, on a flat surface, it goes like a line. But on a curved surface, you only get a spot. And you can test that for yourself at home with a light bulb and a shiny piece of paper. This is reality, isn't it? We get that reflection. That's because it's flat. And that'll go for miles, you know, as long as you can see. So it's not curved, it's flat. Now, you have to study perspective. Once you start looking at, turn that paper over, I'll tell you what it is. Down at the bottom, there's that website, and it says begin. That'll give you 3 videos. This one, the 200 proofs, Earth is not a spinning ball, which is all the stuff where I got this information. And then there's another one, time lapse of the sun. That'll show you how it gets smaller as it goes in a distance. But then when you have a lot of moisture in the air, you'll see the other video, which is refraction. And that looks like it goes down when there's moisture. So I really recommend that you watch those videos and say, well, wait a minute. Now, you're going to have to study perspective because that teaches you how your eyes work at a distance. But here, there's only 2 planes. Here, there's 4. 1, 2, the top, and the bottom. So, but here, there's 2. And that's why you think something goes into a ship goes over the curve, because it goes into the vanishing line of the horizon. You get a high-powered camera, you can pull it right back into focus. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go down over anything. So NASA is putting out a lot of propaganda. That's right on their website. Here's we have something called bubbles in space, where we see air bubbles coming up an astronaut's helmet. How does that happen in the vacuum of space? Speaking of vacuums, how do you have a pressure system next to a vacuum without a physical barrier? That doesn't happen. You know? So in order to have pressure, it has to be contained. Okay? So, what else can I show you? Do you have like a question that's coming up? Because I could go over the whole thing, but it'd be too much information for you.
No problem. Yeah, well, I just had a question, like, as far as, like, so just the Earth is flat? What about the sun, the moon? Are they flat too?
Well, the sun and moon and all the planets and stars are not what you think they are. They are not spinning balls of anything. I think the sun and the moon are filaments. There's free-flowing electricity like a light bulb. There's free-flowing electricity, and this is why I have this out here. We actually live inside a torus field. That's the Earth. This shows you the electricity coming up out of the North Pole, and here's the aurora borealis, because the electricity is exciting the elements in the atmosphere. Comes up and around, and we have free-flowing electricity out there. Did you know that? Tesla told us, and we don't take heed to what these people are saying. He was ruined in his life because J.P. Morgan said, where do we put the meter? They wanted to charge us for all that free-flowing electricity that we should have for free. Our government is lying to us about everything. So if we get smart and we get to critical mass, which is a good number of people, then we can say, no, we're not doing this anymore. You're going to stop abusing us and making us slaves for your sorry behinds. So yeah, all the oceans are flat. No matter what you do, it's going to be flat. Water does that. That's physics. You know, really, space is fake. It's absolutely fake. There's nothing beyond the dome. There is a dome. Lightning sprites will show you the dome. Look that up. We have videos, and you can see it right off the dome. You need a dome, a reflective source for rainbows. That's the shape of the dome. So yeah, and that's the same website you have right there. So there's a lot of stuff. They're vaccinating our kids with poisons and heavy metals. We got to look into this stuff and start protecting ourselves. People suffer for lack of knowledge. Have a good day. So I'm doing a good thing here, aren't I?
I'll put it this way. I don't look at things in terms of good or bad.
Oh.
That's, again, going to splitting into two whenever, like, that separation isn't there.
Isn't that kind of circular, though? Don't you get like, you know,
so
nothing really matters? And
so I'll put it this way. Nothing really matters, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because you're going to die. Like, your life matters because you get to live it. You get to do this dance that you do from birth to death.
Right.
So it's the most incredible thing that you'll ever get to do.
Yeah, but what is this incentive for anybody to do right as opposed to doing evil?
Well, what's right or evil? Like, somebody said this is right or this is evil.
Well, let's just go by maybe something simple like 10 Commandments or something like that. You know, it's wrong to steal.
Yeah.
So
all right. A couple of things. So, in the religions, the truth is all there. It gets distorted in different ways and masked in stories. So, think about Jesus. When he was asked, you know, what's the most important law? Like, the dude comes up and is like, hey, like, there's a million different laws, and I'm kind of just, you know, paraphrasing. You know, what's the most important? It was to love your Lord God with your heart, mind, and spirit, and to love your neighbor as yourself. If you do this, you can't do anything else wrong. Okay,
so you have to define love, and how does that look?
So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, so love means that you're not going to do anything to your neighbor that you wouldn't want done to yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that means, you know, you don't steal or anything like, and so what's the incentive then?
So, I mean, those rules are created for when we get lost. So if we, like, are seeing...
Night. Good. You too.
If we're seeing the truth for a second, you never need to be told these things. So why do you love your Lord God with all your heart, body, and mind, and why do you love your neighbor as yourself? In all reality, your neighbor is yourself. You are all, you know, they say that, you know, every person makes up the body of Christ, or the body of whatever you want to, you know, call it, all these things. So these are little ways to try to help us when we get lost here. So, like, essentially, if you forget that point, if you pay attention to these things, at least when you're here, and you forget what's going on.
So we are eternal beings then, you're saying? Like our spirit?
So we are this. This is just all the same.
So when we die, we just don't exist anymore? Or our spirits live on? Or what do you think about that?
So I'll put it this way.
Reincarnation? Where are you? with that?
I could try to explain that a little bit, but all the things that I can tell you, like, the words mean nothing. I promise you. I'll try and tell you, but I'm saying, like, there are ways to experience what I'm trying to kind of talk about.
Okay.
And if you have that experience, you don't have to, like, worry about all the other stuff. It'll click for you when you have it. So, yeah, we are eternal. We basically, and this is based on my experiences. So I can't give you this is definitely what the situation is. I can tell you that based on what I've experienced, this is how I've experienced it to be. So we are eternal, and we come here because we choose to. We are eternal, and that's the thing. Imagine you exist forever. Why wouldn't you want to, like, come take a trip as a human?
Okay.
You know, and so in doing so, like, we're able to kind of learn the things that we would never glean without that.
So we have control over what we're all, like, there is no, you're saying there is no God.
No, it's not at all what I'm saying.
Oh.
I'm saying that God is so much more incredible than what people give him credit for.
Right.
God is not a guy, and God is not somebody who judges. You are God. Like, your core is that thing that is everything. So, like, there is no, you don't have to worry about going to heaven or hell. You're never going to be damned. There is no, you know, any of the stuff that people worry about when they look at God negatively, or, like, you know, the idea that somehow, you know, you could ever not be enough. You know what I mean? You're already perfect. You know, and I promise you that's the case. Again, it doesn't matter unless you, like, realize it. So, you know, I know I'm just saying words, but so when you're talking about the different, like, secret societies and the different things that control things and the different ways that people manipulate our experience of separation to have power over us, that definitely is the case. Like, that's going on all the time, but it's going on, and it's not, I'll put it this way, you don't have to continue the illusion, you know. So think of this: if you could realize that you were, you know, part of this thing, people wouldn't be able to put you or anyone else into different categories. So there wouldn't be this need to...
Well, I would say that would be empowering.
Well, this is the thing,
you know?
too. Imagine if you had power and you realized that there was absolutely nothing special about the power you have other than the fact that the other people haven't figured it out. And then imagine, too, that at a certain point, people that were trying to figure it out were being killed by people that had power and didn't want them to.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the history of the secret societies and of the church.
Right.
You know,
I agree. Well, there's the church and then there's the church.
I know what you mean. 100%.
You know, I think the church is really the people and not the structure and the control over that structure. Because I think it's been taken over by those who want to control everything.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
So that's why I don't go to church anymore. I don't even vote anymore because I figured that part out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I am teaching this because I think it helps people to see that they are in a matrix of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to wake up because the lie, and that's something, when I came to this, I saw the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it really, like, woke me up.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, and I think, in all honesty, it's why everybody has that feeling, you know, that kind of happens in the Matrix, that we live in a lie, and, like, most people are in some way trying to figure out the truth.
Well, because they accept the lie too. I don't accept it anymore. I see it and I reject that.
Yeah.
So, like what you're saying about that part, yeah, you have to see it.
So, let me ask you. The Earth is flat.
Uh-huh.
I'm with you. So, are you happier knowing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was it like before?
I was being controlled.
Mm-hmm.
I felt controlled. I felt restricted. I felt
Yeah, like, how so?
like I had no power over my life.
Gotcha.
Now I see this and I say, oh, okay, I know what's going on. I know why I'm feeling that now. And everything's different now.
I definitely understand what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah. But you're trying to tell me that there's something else that I'm not seeing.
No, well, all I'm trying to tell you is, well, I'll put it this way. Whenever I first initially, like, wanted to talk to you, I had, like, no intention of, like, saying anything that I said. I just wanted to kind of get, like, your thoughts and feelings on this and, like, what got you there, like, how the thing kind of happened, and then I just started like kind of like spilling out like esoteric stuff. So like, I, based on what I'm saying, like kind of just put that on a shelf. Like that's whatever. If you, all right, so if you want to ever figure that stuff out, like you can go like do different things. So like like Aleister Crowley is. Gotcha. So, just a guy, essentially a guy who wanted to try and figure out things. He wanted to figure out what was behind religion, and he used a scientific way to study it. That's essentially what all like magic is, all ritual work, all whatever is that, do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. You know what I mean? That type of
That's
stuff.
what he thought.
Yeah. So anyway, he would also say, we place no reliance on virgin or pigeon or Methodist science or Amos religion. So the idea is that you have this body, this is your way of experiencing everything. Create experiments. Do something, see what happens. Don't be scared because somebody tells you that this is the bad thing.
So sodomize children and that's okay?
No, not at all.
Well, that's what they did.
No.
They killed people, they ritualistic
So do you want to know
sacrifices?
So he, in his writings, when he talks about sacrificing children, they're coded things. So they say that so that the profane don't look further. He's talking about masturbating. So when he's talking about sacrificing children, he's talking about where the result is these potential kids that aren't there. Okay? So
but they're not doing that. It's not being practiced as that. They are actually killing babies.
Have you seen them?
I have heard testimony from 2 children at the Hampstead case in England.
So I'm not saying it's not happening anywhere. I'm just saying
and I look at the results. I don't listen to really what people say. I kind of watch what they do, okay? 100%. And what the Satanists do, I want nothing to do with. They are doing evil, in my view, and killing children and sodomizing children is not something.
100% with you.
Okay.
I don't think any.
And I think if that's going to be the result of Aleister Crowley's writings on masturbation, he should have said this is about masturbation and not about actually putting a knife to the throat of an infant. And this is not okay with me.
I completely agree. So that's. I'm not saying that has never occurred. I'm saying that is not what these ratings or what those things are about. So the fact of the matter is, the way that he worded things as well is based on his upbringing. It's based on everyone goes through trauma and tries to deal with it in their own way. Okay,
so he was traumatized as a child or something, and that's why he didn't write nicely?
Well, no, he was raised in a very strict a version of like Quakerism, and so he had this rebellion thing against Christianity, and he tried to do things in ways that would offend and shock the people. So
wouldn't that be like denying the other part of the duality that you just talked about earlier?
What do you mean?
Well, if he's against the other side of this, the splitting thing, then
No, there's no against it. That's how things get expressed. So like through different practices, you can not see the split, or you can realize things as they are. So it's not saying that like, nope, it's all one whatever. There's not, you know, white and black when I can clearly look at white and black. That's not the case. It's saying, you know, you have a male and a female. So for
I don't equate good and evil with male and female. I don't equate them as anything on the same level. I think there is good and there is evil. And I think that evil is evil. I mean, definitely Aleister Crowley was on the evil side.
So
because the good side even says you shouldn't even have sex before marriage.
This is why they tell you. The same people that you said about the church having power and trying to
have you heard this before? And what do you think? Do you have a question? I really know a lot about this, so you can ask me anything. Like something crazy. Go ahead, ask me. Yeah? Well, guess what? This is the flat Earth map. North Pole's in the center. Antarctica goes around. Everything on my banners you can find here. So you can take this home, you can type that in, and it'll give you all this information. And you can get a bottle of wine, and you can watch this, and you can say, is that true? Is that really true? It can't be true.
Curvature formula.
Yeah. See, if there's a ball, there has to be a curvature formula for how far out it goes. It's got to drop, right? We're not finding any curvature anywhere. I went to Wildwood and saw Atlantic City with a high-powered zoom 32.6 miles away, and you shouldn't be able to see it. Here is Chicago, 60 miles across Lake Michigan. You should not be able to see that. See, this is what we're saying. There's no curvature. There is no ball. And do you feel anybody spinning? We should be going 700 miles an hour right now. Right? There's the vacuum of space, and we live in a pressure. So how do you have a pressure next to a vacuum without a physical barrier? That doesn't happen either. It has to be contained to have pressure. Your tires on your car, like for one. So this is all documented. We have the facts, and the government is on this spinning ball thing. You know why? Why would they do that? I think there's two major reasons. If they can fool us, they can rule us. They can tell us a lie. We'll believe it and do what they say. See? The other thing is the government wants to be the ultimate authority. Do you guys believe the Bible at all? So, in order to be the ultimate authority, they had to get rid of the one that was there. And this system here, it looks like this. There is a dome. We have evidence of it. Lightning sprites come off the dome. You can see it. And the rainbows have to be reflected off of a... So there's a picture of it. You can have that too. Okay. So you start your journey. I started mine 2 years ago. And the love of humanity is having me out here teaching this. When guys walk past and laugh at me, that's okay with me. Because I got somebody like you who's going to at least look into it. And that's what makes me happy.
I'm looking for something to watch tonight.
There you go.
There you go.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Oh, you packing up? Is it? It is. It's almost 7. Do they close them all at 7? Oh, 9. That's right. Sure.
So, I'll just preface it with this. Remember you were saying about the church and having power.
Right.
So, if the church has a monopoly on ways to experience the divine, the only way to connect to the divinity that's inside of yourself is through them. All right.
Okay, I don't go to church anymore either because
Gotcha.
I figured out that was wrong.
Gotcha. So, sex is not a bad thing. It's the most incredible thing in the world where two can literally become one and dissolve into nothing. So anyway, If you're just going to read you from the book.
Go ahead.
of
You don't
Laws.
mind if I keep doing
No,
this
no.
to you? Okay, good.
I don't want to keep you longer than.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So, Crowley wrote the Book of Lies. It's chapter 69. The chapter is entitled "The Way to Succeed and the Way to Suck Eggs." So, if you can kind of figure out where that's going, I can kind of explain to you the symbolism behind the secret societies that you're,
Well, why are they secret? Why don't they let everybody know what's going on?
Because, well, I'll just read. So, you can look at them in different ways.
Okay.
Anyway, it says, "This is the holy hexagram. Plunge from the height, O God, and interlock with man. Plunge from the height, O man, and interlock with beast. The red triangle is the descending tongue of grace. The blue triangle is the ascending tongue of prayer. This interchange, the double gift of tongues, the word of double power, abrahadabra, is the sign of the great work. For the great work is accomplished in silence, and behold is not the word equal to Cheth, that is cancer." Whose sigil is, seemed like the sigil for cancer, like the
Crab?
constellation. No, it's 69.
Oh, I see.
And the work also eats itself up, accomplishes its own end, nourishes the worker, leaves no seed, is perfect in itself. Little children love one another. So, when you're talking about, say you see a hexagram, and you go, hey, that's a satanic symbol, that's a whatever.
Right.
Okay, the Jewish star. Essentially,